And of course, I forgot to turn my mic on. We should be good. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can see me. Drop a 1 in the chat if y'all can hear me. We're looking all crispy and clean on the screen. Back at it. Hey, you know, I'm new to this. This is my first time here. Figuring out this live stream thing. Welcome, y'all. Welcome back to another YouTube live stream and another episode of the ClassE Morning Show. I'm your host, ClassE, at patreon.com/ClassEbeats. Make sure you check out the link in the description as well as in the pinned comment in the chat. We're finally here. We made it before this afternoon. And we are getting into the verdict watch today. Hopefully y'all are doing well this morning. It's good to see everybody in here. Before I get started, I gotta say what's up to the people, man. Shout out to the gang in the building. We got my awesome, amazing Amy is in here. I know y'all have been in here for a minute. Les Cleaver's in the building. Nana Banana, Slim Life, New Jersey, Mr. Brown, CPE, my dog is up in here. We've got Taco Tuesday is in the building a day early. Pau Eyes is in the building. Kara Hampton is in here. Oh, there's Les. Okay, I see Les in the building. What up, what up, what up? We got a bunch of y'all in the building. And I will be reading super chats. Don't worry. We got In Blue is up in here. Okay. Shout out to In Blue. We've got, who else? Thunder is in here. Technical difficulties. What's her name? Yo, chill out, Thunder. Dang. Shout out to Thunder. You know how it be. We got Libby22, SC Girl is in here as well. Danny in real life. We got Miss DB. Good morning. We've got LZB is in here as well. All the B's showed up today. We've got, who is that? Jaybird 315 is in the building. Good morning, good morning, good morning. We've got Monty and the Murphys is in here as well. All right, y'all. We're gonna go ahead and get right into it. As you know, today is day 34. The jury is deliberating and they're going to decide if Karen Reed is guilty or not guilty. And if she's guilty on some counts, not guilty on other counts. We're gonna have to wait and see. I want to go and actually pull up this jury form because this is kind of wild, but we're going to get into it here in a second. If y'all could, please do me a favor. The one thing I ask for on this show is that you guys like the video on your way in. It's free. It helps the channel continue to grow. It takes less than 1 second and it lets the algorithm know you guys are enjoying the show. It shares this video, the live stream, and all the videos that we've dropped in the past and will drop in the future with more people. So thank you again to the 1,000 of y'all that liked the video. We weren't even in here and y'all would already like it. Like, dang. That's some love right there. So we're going to get into it. We're going to pivot for a second before we get into the court proceedings. And I want to see if I can find these forms. I think I saved them and bookmarked them over on X. So let me see if I can find this real quick. And I know some of y'all may have seen it over on X too, because we got some insight into how the jury forms were structured and what the jury is actually going to be looking at when it comes to deciding oh, here we go. And how the jury is going to decide if Karen Reed is not guilty or guilty. So let me see. I think I actually got one from Kathy Russin over here. I'm trying to see if I could find it over at Law and Crime. She's got the PDF, I believe, and I want to make sure this is the right one because there was a couple of them. There was a couple of them floating around and I think this is it. So shout out to Kathy over at Law and Crime. And let me show this to y'all because I know you guys are going to be interested to see what this looks like. And it's definitely interesting how everything's structured. Let me make sure. Hold on. Before we get into this, I got to read super chats. Hold on a second now. Y'all see, this is my first time live streaming. Okay. So y'all are going to have to give me a break. It's my first time here. So give me some grace, guys. Okay. So let me go ahead and look at the super chats we've got. We've got Slim Life, New Jersey in the building. With the 10 bomb says, good morning, ClassE, Amy, and my amazing fam. Have a blessed day all. And remember, God is good all the time, and all the time, God is good. Happy Father's Day. Free Karen Reed. Let's get it. Yeah. Free Karen Reed for real. It needs to happen. I've been seeing, man, people on X are absolutely brutal. If y'all aren't on X, people are brutal over there, and they really have some strong opinions about Karen Reed, how they feel the jury should decide or make a decision. It's going to be interesting to see how it goes, but we might get into it a little bit later. Kara Hampton in here with the 5 bomb says, good Monday morning. Hope Everyone had a wonderful Father's Day weekend. Yes, most definitely did. It's time to see what we can get into now that Karen Reed is almost over. Also, that's a good point, Kara. Thank you for that. Let me know what y'all want to cover next. Is there a trial that you want to cover next that's coming up soon? Is there one that's ongoing that we can maybe catch up on? I was going to cover the cash out trial, but it looks like everyone who was on the media got kicked out of the cash out trial. I'm hearing rumors that someone may have shown the jury. I actually went to go and find the video from the cash out trial, the day one, where they had opening statements, and the video was taken down. So I wonder if that's because what is being rumored to have happened did happen. So it's looking like we won't be able to cover the cash out trial. But if there's something else you guys want to cover, please let me know in the comments in the chat of this video as well. Those of y'all who are watching over on the replay, let me know what you guys think and what you want to cover next too. All right, thank you for that, Kara. We also have another one from Kara. She dropped a two bomb and says, also, let's have a great day on purpose. There it is. I was waiting for it. Shout out to Kara. We've got Slim Life New Jersey in here with the coffee with the 4 bomb. Thank you so much. I don't drink coffee, but we got plenty of water over here to keep us hydrated. I'll take it. I'll take it. Also, we've got Virginia Wiley in the building with the 5 bomb. Says, good morning, CEB family. Happy Monday. Let's be the difference in someone's life this week. Oh my goodness. That's a great way to put it, Virginia. I like that. We got CPE, my dog, up in here. Shout out to CPE with the 5 bomb. Thank you, sure. And I appreciate the support. Just showing some love. We've got Kara in here. Says, wait for it. Because I know y'all were in there waiting for me. Oh man, for like 4 hours. I apologize, y'all. But we got it together. Kara said, wait for it with the 2 bomb. And then we've got Nana Banana with the super sticker, the poop emoji. No, it'd be rough out here. And then shout out to Jaybird 315, just became a platinum member. Thank you, Jaybird. Welcome to the platinum side. Make sure you check out all the members only content we have for you. Also, if you haven't yet, use some of the emojis, show some love, and you will see your name now highlighted in green because you're a member. So welcome to the member side. Speaking of, my awesome, amazing Amy just gifted 5 memberships. Shout out to Amy. If you got a membership from Amy, please make sure that you say thank you. Also, Dottie is in here. Shout out to Dottie as well. I love you. I appreciate you. I miss you. She's in here, says, miss and love you, s'mores. Love you, s'mores too. Thanks for being in here, Dottie. And good morning. Well, what's left of the morning as well. Sean MC is in here, says 5 p.m. here. Hoping for a verdict before bed. I think there will be a verdict today. That was my guess. And I actually put a poll in the chat for y'all and asked you guys, will the jury return a verdict today? Surprisingly, 68% of you said yes, but 32% of you said no. So all you naysayers out there, when it comes to a verdict being returned today, when do you think the verdict will be returned, and why don't you think there will be a verdict today? I'll be interested to hear that from some of you. Always good to see Grace in here. Yep. Shout out to Grace. I'm glad we don't have to listen to the the dummy anymore. Ow. That's tough. Let's see. Shane Birchmore is a federal case. Yeah. If it's a federal case, won't be covering that. But yeah, we talked about that. That was about the young girl who got pregnant and apparently was having some inappropriate relationships, not only with one officer, the alleged officer, or the officer who's alleged to have killed her, but his brother, I believe, and some other officers. It got really, really weird. But yeah, I wish I could cover that. But if it's a federal case, then we won't be able to cover it. Good morning. Stay in tune with your loved ones. Absolutely. Was looking forward to seeing Love in action again. Yeah, me too, D. That's kind of disappointing. And I saw some updates from the news and they were showing a couple shots from the courthouse, but yeah, I think they're kicking us out of the courtroom for that one. Maybe I'll go and try and get a Rule 22 down there. I just don't know if I have the time. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into this. So before I get into this blank jury form here, and shout out again to Kathy Russin over at Law and Crime for this, we're going to go ahead and see what happened this morning. If Judge Bev had anything to say, if at all, this morning. Shouldn't have been much, but let's get into it. We got the hear ye going on.
Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. All persons having anything to do before the Honorable Beverly Canoni, the Justice of the Superior Court, holding in Dedham within and for the County of Norfolk. Draw near, give your attendance, and you shall be heard. Holding in Dedham within and for the County of Norfolk. Draw near, give your attendance, and you shall be heard. God save the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. This court is in session. Please be seated.
Here we go.
Good morning, Counsel.
Kara, we're definitely
good morning,
covering
Ms.
that.
Reed. Good morning, jurors. Good morning, alternates. So I have to ask you those same questions. Were you all able to follow my instructions and refrain from discussing this case with anyone since we left here on Friday?
You know they lying.
Everyone said yes and nodded affirmatively. Were you
We will
also
be
able
covering
to
this
follow the
Harris, yes.
instructions and refrain from doing any independent research or investigation into this case? Yes. Everyone said yes or nodded affirmatively. Did anyone happen to see, hear, or read anything about this case since we left here on Friday? Everyone said no or shook their heads.
Come on,
Mr.
jury.
With that, we're going to send you back out to deliberate. Okay.
And also, Mr. Foreman, in the wise words of the commissioner, do the right thing. I was waiting for it, but she didn't say it. I'm kind of disappointed, Bev. Man, did she give him a little wink? Let's rewind it and see.
One said no or shook their head. So,
Make sure.
Mr. Foreman, with that, we're going to send you back out to deliberate. Okay.
She gave him that look like, we're going to deliberate. Today's the day. And I think that was it. I know Yannetti, I believe I saw him pop up somewhere, had something to say to Judge Bev. Let me see if I can skip ahead here. And we're officially on verdict watch again, guys. I need to put Law and Crime up here, because I know they've got the countdown clock or the timer on that. Good morning, KC. Good to see you. Keep it moving in New York. Good morning.
Jurors exit the courtroom. Please be seated.
All right, so Mr. McDermott handed me something that I'm going to go read. All right, and we'll see you. Court officers will give you instructions on where to be.
Thank you, Les,
no more
for
than
the
10
two-ball.
minutes away, okay?
Your Honor, with regard to the version that was sent to the court.
I don't, the version of whatever I have not yet read?
Correct.
Okay.
No, I want to flag for the court. We'd like to replace that. We noticed some errors. There were different versions that were circulating amongst our team, and we believe the incorrect version got filed. So we would, if you have 10 minutes.
Yeah, Unique. That Nazai Harris case
Okay.
is terrible.
Has the Commonwealth seen whatever it is that Mr. Yannetti's talking about?
I just received it in the courtroom. They may have sent it earlier. I just looked at it a couple minutes ago, so I need some time.
Okay.
We'll make sure he has the updated version as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right.
All right, so that was it for today so far. Now we'll have to wait and see if we have a verdict today. I think we will. Shout out to Bethany Marie is in here, says, it's weird that they say, hear ye speak. I think it's just to get the honorable judge blank line in there. Yeah, they must think if they say it enough, we'll be convicted. But that's not the case. Yeah, shout out to you. Also, Amy with the cake already. Dang, we just got here, Amy. Amy's trying to have lunch already. Dang. Not guilty, y'all are saying. Yeah. Let me see. And shout out to Bethany Marie in the building. All right, let's go ahead. And now that we are through the hear ye, we're going to look at this verdict form. So let's see what we got. Are the verdicts slipped? Or the verdict? She said, yeah, what'd she say? Oh, Slim Light said, she said convinced and not convicted. Oh, my bad. I guess that's a yeah, Amy, yeah, I know. I got you, Amy. It's gonna be all right. What did she say? Let me go back and read it then, since I messed it up. She said, they must think if they say it enough, we'll be convinced. Okay, I can't read. Innocent, y'all are saying. Amy says, sorry, not sorry. Hear ye, hear ye. All right, let's look at this form. Have y'all seen this yet? we have the Commonwealth versus Karen Reed. Here's the verdict slip. So first we have murder in the second degree. In the above entitled case, we, the jury, say that the defendant is not guilty. They put that one first. Or guilty of an offense as charged, murder in the second degree. Pretty straightforward on the first one, right? Then we have, give me a second, I got to put my phone on silent. Then we have this second part, Commonwealth versus Karen Reed. Now, this was where it gets interesting. We've got manslaughter while operating a motor vehicle under the influence of liquor. There's a lot to this, guys. So let's go ahead and break it down. So first we say, in the above entitled case, we, the jury, say that the defendant is not guilty of the offense charged or any lesser of included offense. We have guilty of an offense as charged, which would be manslaughter while operating a motor vehicle under the influence of liquor. All right. We have manslaughter while operating a vehicle under the influence of liquor and or manslaughter while operating a motor vehicle with a blood alcohol level of 0.08 or greater. I don't think this is going to happen, because if they find her not guilty on the other charges, which I think they will, number two, not possible that they're going to find her guilty of this, obviously. Right? What else do they have? Number three, guilty of a lesser included offense, involuntary manslaughter. Again, I don't think that's going to happen. Casey said, remember, ClassE, readings not only fun, but fundamental. How are you going to say that in the chat and not put the proper punctuation? Now, Casey, see? Readings, not only fun, but fundamental. Now, reading's overrated. We got Siri and ChatGPT. I don't need to read. Notice on many sub charges, the only option is listed as guilty. Yes. And I think that's what they had an issue with. But it's weird, and we'll get to it here in a second, that they did it that way. Because look, guilty of a lesser included offense, involuntary manslaughter. I don't think so. Guilty of a lesser included offense, motor vehicle homicide. It's a felony. OUI, liquor and negligence. Okay, motor vehicle homicide by operating a motor vehicle under the influence of liquor. Again, she would have had to kill them. I don't think the jury thinks that she killed him. Now, this is the interesting one, because the way they have this structured, this should have had a not guilty on it, because it says they can check guilty of a lesser included offense operating under the influence of liquor. Now, with this, there should have been a not guilty here for this option, because they can say not guilty of the offense charged or any lesser included offense, right? So they can check that there if not guilty on this, but it'll be confusing if they mark guilty here and then don't have the option of not guilty there. So I don't like the way this is set up at all, because all of these options include somebody dying, right? But then you get to option 5 and it says operating under the influence of liquor. I'm not gonna lie, Karen, they might get her for this one. In the initial charges, I didn't see this, but Karen, she might get found guilty of this one. Operating under the influence of liquor, operating a motor vehicle under the influence of liquor, and or operating a motor vehicle with the blood alcohol level of 0.08 or greater. I don't believe they did a blood alcohol test on Karen. So again, I don't see how they find her guilty of that, but operating the motor vehicle under the influence of liquor, she's probably gonna be found guilty for that one. It's just weird how they have this set up, because what you guys are saying is they should have guilty of the offense charged, manslaughter, and then not guilty. Guilty of the lesser included offense, involuntary manslaughter, not guilty. But they can't check not guilty here and then check guilty here, because it doesn't make sense. They almost cancel each other out. So again, this verdict slip is garbage. Let me see what y'all are saying. The judge and Commonwealth just want the word guilty listed as many times as possible and the words not guilty in the jurors' faces. Then everyone at that bar needs to go to jail for DUI. Yeah, they need to. Oh man, this would be insensitive to say, so I'm not going to say it. But yeah, everybody who testified during this trial should be hit with the DUI or OUI. This is how they got her last time. That's what I keep hearing. This form is so weird. She is a drinking champ. Her tolerance could be high. Yeah, and again, I don't remember it being addressed that much in this trial, but I know you first trialers know. Was Karen Reed's blood alcohol level tested? I don't think it was, right? What was her blood alcohol? I don't see. Let me find out. What was Karen Reed's blood alcohol? I'm going to tell y'all right now. 0.26. Oh, yikes. What? Is that true? At approximately 9 a.m. on January 29th, hospital blood work showed that Karen Reed's blood alcohol content was at 0.093, which is above the 0.08. So based on the retrograde testing and assuming her last drink was around 12:45 a.m., toxicologists estimated her blood alcohol content at that earlier time to have been between 0.14 and as high as 0.29. Dang. Yeah, so she's they're gonna get her for this. They'll get her for this one for sure. She needs to be found guilty of operating under the influence of liquor, because this is wild. Just do better, Karen. Come on. And I know it's something that just Canton prides himself on, is people being able to drive under the influence, but good Lord, stop it. I don't know what she'll be facing for this, but it's a lesser charge. Not a big deal. She'll probably have a suspended license for a certain amount of time. It was over a 0.08 tested by the hospital, which has a variance of 10 to 15%, which would put it under the limit. Plus, she admitted to drinking after she got home. I want her to be honest, I want her to be found guilty of this just so she can think about her life's decisions. I mean, say with that what you will. Drinking and then getting into a car is just... You're 40 something years old. You should know better. I don't care how experienced you are or how high of a tolerance you are. Can we just stop this in general? Can we just ban alcohol? I mean, dang. I'm cool with it. Verdict slip. Y'all are going to kill me for that one. Offense: leaving the scene of an accident resulting in death. Again, this is going to be interesting. In the above entitled case, the jury say the jury say that the defendant is not guilty or guilty of an offense as charged, leaving the scene of an accident resulting in death. Again, they would have to believe that Karen Reed hit John O'Keefe, which I don't think that they will. Casey said, ban alcohol. How dare you? Hey, I'm good with it, man. We do not need alcohol. Nobody needs alcohol. Get it out of here. Yeah. So I hope I need to take back what I said with the not guilties. I hope they find Karen Reed guilty of operating under the influence of liquor, and they should write up everybody who does this. Like, it's not worth it. And can we imagine how things would have went down that night in general if alcohol wasn't involved? Can y'all think about that for a second? Think about that. If alcohol wasn't involved in this situation, how differently could this night have been? Whatever you believe happened, How differently would that have affected John O'Keefe's life? Is it worth it? I don't think so. Stay hydrated, guys. 4 years sober. Shout out to Chris Easter, 4 years sober. I agree. I'm 100% against DWI. I'd be fine with not guilty on all the other charges and guilty on the DUI. Yeah, she needs to stop it, Karen. You know, you should know better. The defense added the DUI charge so that if the jury wants to hold her responsible for something, they can choose that. Brilliant. Thank you for that insight. Because if I were a juror, I'd be like, yep. And I want community service too. Can we get, she needs to, come on. And she wasn't driving the next day. Jen was. They would have someone to pin the murder on. They wouldn't have someone to pin the murder on. I think alcohol is too normalized. Noah, I agree. Get rid of it. I'm fine. Just destroy the entire alcohol industry. We don't need it. When was her last drink? She may have hit the bottle at home. She did. It should be illegal to pour on our grave. Every cop should be held accountable. I agree. Higgins went caveman because he was drunk. John couldn't defend himself because he was drunk. Karen drove off like a dumb you know what because she was drunk. Alcohol is not worth it. I added that in there, but I think you would agree. Noah, then don't drink it. Yeah, the sad thing about that is I don't. And someone else can, and it can affect and change your life forever. We've heard the story too many times, but this isn't a DUI class. A convicted of DUI, OUI, I wonder how long the horrible judge would sentence her, probably the max. Yeah, I saw a conversation about that on X, and I'm going to quit talking here in a second. We'll actually get into the videos here shortly. What would the max sentence be if she is found guilty of OUI or WI? Let's see what we're working with here. Do you think she will ever drink again after this 4-year-old ordeal? Really lovely, Lily. ClassE, I think she already learned her lesson, love. You think so? I'm gonna let it go, but I don't think so. I think I saw, we're not gonna start gossiping. Here we go. Massachusetts. First offense, OUI/DWI. Maximum penalties. Here we go. Jail up to 2.5 years in jail. Fine up to $5,000 fine plus $250 head injury fee and a $50 victim assistance fee. What? You can get your license suspended up to a year. However, note that the first-time offenders often get alternative 2,4-D dispositions involving probation and education programs rather than full penalties. 2.5 years in jail seems kind of harsh for a first offender. But again, I think first offenders, they should face 2 years in jail. Second offense. It doesn't matter because she's not a second offender, but just for the sake of reading it, because we have it here, up to 2.5 years in jail with at least 30 to 60 days mandatory behind bars. Fine up to $10,000. License suspension up to 2 years with a hardship license only after 1 year. Ignition interlock device mandatory once license is reinstated. Yeah, so I don't think Karen will face any jail time. If the judge holds her to the maximum penalty, I'm not going to be upset about it. To be honest. Do better, Karen. Dang. Do better. We got to stop normalizing driving drunk. I stopped drinking a few years ago, not because I had a problem, but I just was a problem when I drank. Always humiliated the next morning. Dang. There's no evidence that she was drunk at the time of the accident. She could have drank after she got home while she was calling with those nasty voice messages. But she said she had been drinking all day. I just think drinking and driving is a mistake. I don't care, girl. Listen, I'm marking this one off. Guilty. I just personally, you have a choice. You do not have to. You don't have to. It's 2025, man. Dang. You don't have to do it. You don't have to do it. Get an Uber. If I see you at a bar, get an Uber. I don't want to see you get behind the wheel. Please, just don't. No driving the next day. I rarely drink because I cannot handle it. I'm the type of drunk who gets flirty, crazy, fun, then mean. Oh my gosh. Is Karen in custody right now? No. Did she get tested for DUI, field test, blow test, excuse me. Yes, we read the numbers on that earlier. Her hospital blood work showed that she was at 0.093, which was still above the limit. And give John a DUI from behind the grave then. Tatum, I didn't want to say that. Dang. I should have read this before I read it out loud. I did not want to say that, Tay, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Shame on John too. Is that inappropriate to say? Yikes. How did we get here? Karen probably drunk right now. She would have to be a nutcase to do that. Lily, you'd be surprised. Same here. I have 6 years now. That's awesome, Slim White. The next time, she better use an excuse. And John let her drive. He needs a DUI too. Tatum is out here. No mercy. Tay. We don't want a verdict today. Why not? Why don't y'all want a verdict today? Yep, she was drinking wine. Chris Easter, you saw that picture too? Hey, listen, whatever. Statistically, not guilty takes longer than guilty. I've seen it go both ways. They want her head. She is going to serve that whole 2.5 years. She drinks so much. That's why she has a leaky knot. Guys, what are we doing, y'all? We're better than this. Shout out to all 1,100 of y'all that are in here. Oh my gosh, I don't drink because I wake up in different uniforms. What? Oh my gosh. How did we get here? Oh my God. I drank up to the age 20, got in a wreck, no DUI, and stopped completely. At 56, I decided I like Boston. I only have 1 or 2 in the evenings while relaxing at home. Currently 60. Shout out to Jonathan D. Shout out to Jonathan Devereaux. Jonathan Devereaux. That is one of the dopest names I've ever heard. Jonathan Devereaux. Sheesh. Sounds like you should be, I don't know, like working with Indiana Jones or something. Tatum was tripping over there. 6 years for me, but I'm an alcoholic, so I can't drink at all. Understandable. And congratulations on your 6 years. My 2 drinks a year are New Year's and Super Bowl. Yeah, Don, I was a 2-year drinker too. I would do New Year's if there was a party. And then what was the other occasion? I don't remember. Maybe like 4th of July or something. Anyway, it's Cajun. Jonathan, that's one of the dopest names I've ever heard. Jonathan Devereaux. Sheesh, you could do whatever you want to with that name. Y'all can't blame her for drinking now. I would be drinking every day too if I was on trial for a murder I didn't commit for the second time. I hear you. If it wasn't for her father, she would have not have tested to begin with. Yeah, what's up with all these people talking to the police without an attorney? Weirdos. Amy says, I'm addicted to pineapple only. I know that's right. Bring on the pineapple. It is fun. It is fun to not drink much. It is fun to not drink much, though, because I get half drunk off of a glass of wine at dinner. Oh, yeah. Happy belated Father's Day to all the fathers in here. Not just the fathers, the ones that show up, put in the work. Y'all deserve a happy Father's Day. Talking about sperm donors. All right. Anybody can do that. The fathers that show up and are there, happy Father's Day to y'all. The rest of y'all do better, all right? That is true. If her dad hadn't had her section 13, she would not have been tested. That is only the blood alcohol test she had, correct? Pure Hennessy here. Oh, y'all be wildin'. No other channel engages their chat like ClassE. Hey, shout out to Jonathan Deverell. I love the people, man. Y'all make this channel great. Speaking of engaging the chat, now I'm going to stop engaging the chat for a second. And we're going to do a little bit of rewind. I thought this was fun. Because I'm not a first trialer like many of y'all, I missed when everything went down in Karen Reed's first trial. So what we're going to do is we're going to rewind back to when Judge Bev ruled the first mistrial. And actually, I'm going to rewind way back to where they found out that the jury may have been deadlocked and there was going to be an issue. So let's go ahead and rewind and see what happened here. I think Lally is going to be speaking.
You are unmuted.
We're back on the record on the Karen Reed, Your Honor. We've got a question from the jury.
All right, so Mr. Lally, I'd like to hear from the Commonwealth first about due and thorough deliberations.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last one.
I'd like to hear from the Commonwealth first about your view on whether the jury has conducted due and thorough deliberations.
Your Honor, while I understand that they have been at this for a while, I would submit that they have not, and I would ask the court not to make such a finding. Reasons for that, Your Honor, this jury heard, I believe, about 29 days or so of testimony, 657 different exhibits marked as evidence, 74 different witnesses who testified before them. And while I believe they've been out for somewhere in the vicinity of 22 or 23 hours, what I would submit to the court based on all of that, as well as the complexity of the issues presented to them, they really haven't even had 1 hour of deliberation equivalent to 1 day of testimony, to each of the days of testimony that they've heard. So while they have been at it for a while, I would submit that based on the evidence and testimony and witnesses and the complexity of issues in this case, I would submit that they have not done a thorough deliberation up to this point.
Uh-oh.
Ms. Tianetti?
Our view is that it's time for Tui Rodriguez, Your Honor. They've come back now twice, indicating essentially that they're hopelessly deadlocked. The content of this latest message is that they have been over all the evidence. The previous message said that they did an exhaustive review. This time they said that they have fundamental disagreements about what the evidence means, and it's a matter of opinion. It's not a matter of lack of understanding. This court, when you sent the jury out, encouraged them not to take a straw vote, encouraged them to go over all the evidence in a very methodical manner. I think all indications are that they've done that, and this is what Tui Rodriguez is for. We asked the court to get it.
Yeah. Right. I think this has been an extraordinary jury. I've never seen a note like this reporting to be at an impasse. I do find that they're now, with the additional time that they went out without coming back Friday saying that they were deadlocked, is due and thorough deliberation. So I'm going to give Tui Rodriguez. So are they ready to come in, Jody? So why don't I take a recess?
Take a recess, please.
And then
With a sidebar. All right, so let me skip ahead because this is where it got wild. No. We're doing a rewind. This is in the past. Grace, that was crazy. And we still have no verdict yet, guys.
Court is in session. Please be seated.
Good morning, James.
All right. So, jurors, I am in receipt of your note. Judge Cannoni, despite our commitment to the duty entrusted to us, we find ourselves deeply divided by fundamental differences in our opinions and state of mind. The divergence in our views are not rooted in a lack of understanding or effort, but deeply held convictions that each of us carry, ultimately leading to a point where consensus is unattainable. We recognize the weight of this admission and the implications it holds. So, Mr. Foreman and members of the jury, I have an instruction for you.
Here we go.
Our Constitution and laws provide that in a criminal case, the principal method for deciding questions of fact is the verdict of a jury. In most cases, and perhaps strictly speaking in all cases, absolute certainty cannot be attained, nor is it expected. The verdict to which each juror agrees must, of course, be his or her own verdict, the result of his or her own convictions, and not merely an acquiescence in the conclusions of the other jurors. Still, in order to bring 12 minds to a unanimous result, you must examine the issues you have to decide with candor and with a proper regard and respect for each other's opinions. You should consider that it is desirable that this case be decided. You have been selected in the same manner and from the same source as any future jury would be selected. There is no reason to suppose that this case will ever be submitted to 12 persons who are more intelligent, more impartial, or more competent to decide it than you are, or that more or clearer evidence will be produced at another trial. With all this in mind, it is your duty to decide this case if you can do so conscientiously. In order to make a decision more attainable, the law always imposes the burden of proof on the Commonwealth to establish every essential element of each indictment beyond a reasonable doubt. If you are left with a reasonable doubt as to any essential element of any indictment, then the defendant is entitled to the benefit of that doubt and must be found not guilty on that indictment. In conferring together, you ought to give proper respect to each other's opinions and listen with an open mind to each other's arguments. Where there is disagreement, those jurors who would find the defendant not guilty should consider whether the doubt in their own minds is a reasonable one, if it makes no impression upon the minds of the other jurors, who are equally honest and equally intelligent, who have heard the same evidence with the same attention, who have an equal desire to arrive at the truth, and who have taken the same oath as jurors.
Some interesting facts here. Tui Rodriguez isn't a person. It's a judicial instruction in Massachusetts. I'm never going to say it right. Criminal trials named after the Commonwealth versus Tui and Commonwealth versus Rodriguez. Here you go. It's also known as dynamite or nitrogen charge. The instruction is what the judges deliver when a jury is hung, meaning they can't reach a unanimous verdict. The judge encourages the jurors to re-examine their positions and strive for agreement while being careful not to coerce. A delicate balance the original two instructions struggled with, later softened by the Rodriguez version. Why it matters. In Karen Reed's first trial, around 20 hours of deliberation, the jury issued a Tui Rodriguez charge, still hung, and a mistrial was declared, obviously, as we know, shortly after. The instruction is controversial and even banned in some states. Did y'all know that? Due to concerns, it pressures holdout jurors. Yeah, I don't like it either. Massachusetts uses a version carefully worded to avoid undue influence. Yeah, right. Here we go. What's up, Stephen?
At the same time, those jurors who would find the defendant guilty ought seriously to ask themselves whether they may not reasonably doubt the correctness of their judgment if it is not shared by other members of the jury. They should ask themselves whether they should distrust the weight or sufficiency of the evidence if it has failed to convince the minds of their fellow jurors beyond a reasonable doubt. I will now ask you, Mr. Foreman, and members of the jury to return to your deliberations with these instructions in mind. And as with my final instructions and the supplemental instructions I sent in, I will send in a copy of this charge as well. All right, so may that be marked, Madam Court Reporter, please. All right, so thank you. We'll send you folks back out to deliberate.
All rise for the court, please. Jurors, follow me.
Poor Peggy. Peggy looks like this aged her a little bit too. That's tough, man.
Thank you. Be seated. Closing session.
22117 Commonwealth versus Karen Reed.
All right, the jury is at an impasse. So we'll bring them in.
Please rise for the jury.
You got Paul. You got Aiden in the background, was there throughout the whole thing.
Closing session, please be seated.
All right, Mr. Foreman, I am in receipt of your note. Judge Cannoni, despite our rigorous efforts, we continue to find ourselves at an impasse. Our perspectives on the
again.
evidence are starkly divided.
No, this is
Some
from the
members
first
of the
trial.
jury firmly believe that the evidence surpasses the burden of proof, establishing the elements of the charges beyond a reasonable doubt. Conversely, others find the evidence fails to meet this standard and does not sufficiently establish the necessary elements of the charges. The deep division is not due to a lack of effort or diligence, but rather a sincere adherence to our individual principles and moral convictions. To continue to deliberate would be futile and only serve to force us to compromise these deeply held beliefs.
Sorry, Kelbo.
I'm not going to do that.
You're like,
to you
again?
folks. Your service is complete. I'm declaring a mistrial in this case.
There it
I'll
is.
be in to
Dang.
see you privately in a few minutes. So thank you so much for your service. Okay.
All rise for the court, please.
She was not happy about that. Oh, man. And that was it. All right. So that was when it went down. Let's go ahead and see. I'm going to double check again and see if we have a decision yet. We have no verdict. So I told y'all what we were going to do is we're going to go back and do another little bit of a rewind and go back to some of the testimony that we missed from the last trial, but also some of the witnesses that weren't recalled this trial. So we're going to start with the young man himself. Let me make sure this is the right day. Yeah, he started testifying at the end of day 12. This is going to be Colin Albert. So we'll get him in here first. Amy says they also have a Rosario rule in Massachusetts. No arrested person may be interrogated after 6 hours has passed from the time of their arrest. Ooh, that's dope. But can they still, my question though, Amy, would be, can they still hold you though? That would be the question, because 6 hours of active interrogation is one thing, but can they still keep you there would be my question. And we'll get to Proctor's testimony here as well. Catching up on some testimony from the first trial. More personal witnesses, crazy lying, and unbelievable stories told, worth listening to. Yeah, we're going to get into it. Y'all said Colin, oh boy, here we go. Is Colin one of them ones? Shout out to Michelle. She was over there tripping, said, I thought this was again. I was about to have a heart attack. Okay, I'm sorry. I did not mean to give y'all a heart attack. Let's see what Colin had to say.
Step right up here. Step on me. Remain standing and face the car.
you solemnly swear the evidence you give to the court and during the case now hearing should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I might have this sped up too much.
Whenever you're ready, Mr. Lilly.
Thank you.
Y'all aren't rocking with Colin either?
Good afternoon, sir.
Dang.
How are you?
Could you please state your name and spell your last name for the jury?
Colin Albert, Albert.
And where do you live, sir?
Canton, Mass.
And how long have you lived in Canton?
My whole life.
And who, if anyone, do you live in Canton with?
I live with my mother, my father, and my two brothers,
And your mother and your father, what are their names?
Julie and Chris Albert.
And your brothers, what are their names?
Chris and Dylan Albert.
And as far
Did
as
they
within
testify?
the age of you and your two brothers, where do you fall in that?
I am the middle child.
And how old are you, sir?
I'm 20 years old.
And do you work? Do you go to school?
I go to school at Bridgewater State.
And what year are you in?
I am going into my junior year.
Now, sir, if I could turn your attention to January 28th and to January 29th of 2022. Do you recall those days?
Yes.
Do you recall what days of the week they were?
I do not.
Do you recall whether it was a weekday, weekend?
Weekend.
And turning your attention to the evening of January 28th, do you recall where you went that night?
Yes, I do.
And just to be clear, around that time, were you in college? Were you in high school? What grade were you in?
I was a senior in high school.
So end of January, you would have been about 4 months away or so from graduation, correct?
Yes, sir.
And
Same age as Allison.
on that evening, where did you, at some point, did you leave your home and go out?
Yes, I did.
And do you recall about what time it was that you went out?
I do not remember.
Do you recall whether it was light or dark when you went out?
It was dark.
And where did you, upon leaving your house, where did you go?
I went to one of my buddy's houses.
And that buddy, what was his name?
Mike.
And where does Mike live in relation to you?
Can you rephrase that?
Does Mike live in Canton as well?
Yes, he does.
And about how far is it from your house and Mike's house?
About like 7-8 minutes.
And when you got to Mike's house, was it just you and Mike, or who, if anyone else, was there?
I do not remember who was there.
Was there more than just the two of you?
Yes.
And generally speaking, when you got to Mike's house, what is it that you did when you got there?
I do not remember.
Now, as far as how you got from your house to Mike's house, do you recall how you got there?
No, I do not remember.
Let me ask you this. Did you walk? Did you drive? Did you get a ride?
I got a ride.
Do you recall who you got a ride from?
No.
And when you, do you recall, let me ask you this, as far as that particular night that you went out, did you drink any alcoholic beverages while you were out?
Yes.
And did you drink any of those?
Ooh,
at
drinking
Mike's?
underage?
Yes.
And do you recall generally what you were drinking that night?
Bud Light.
And when you were at Mike's house on that particular evening, do you recall about how long you were there for?
A few hours.
And do you recall how much you had to drink while you were at Mike's house?
I do not remember.
And so in reference to you going out and going over Mike's house and having some beers over there, is that why you didn't drive?
Yes.
So you got a ride from someone over to Mike's house, you spent some hours there, and then do you recall where you went from there?
I went to my uncle's house.
And fair to say you have a relatively large extended family within Canton, is that correct?
Yes.
And so when you say you went to your uncle's house, which uncle's house did you go to?
My Uncle Brian.
And that would be same last name as yourself, so Brian Albert.
Yes.
And how is he your uncle, sort of how is he related to you?
He is my father's brother.
And why did you go to your uncle's house that night?
It was my cousin Brian's birthday, so I went over to celebrate for a little bit with him.
And so that would be Brian Albert Jr., is that right?
Yes, sir.
And do you know how old your cousin Brian Albert Jr. was turning on that night?
I do not know.
When, do you recall how you got from Mike's house to your uncle's house?
I believe Allie McCabe.
And do you know the address as far as your uncle's house?
34 Fairview Road.
Is that somewhere, your family's house, is that somewhere that you had been before?
Yes.
And so your memory is that Allie McCabe gave you a ride from Mike's house to the house on Fairview?
From what I remember, yes.
Now, Allie McCabe, as far as who is that
to you? Or what, if any, kind of relationship do you have with Allie?
It is my cousin's cousin. So not technically my cousin, but we're close and like we do family events and stuff like that together.
And you and Ms. McCabe, are you in the same grade?
Yes,
And how long have you known each other?
my whole entire life.
Long time.
So not blood related, but someone that you see at family events.
Yes,
And someone that was in the same grade and went to the same school as you?
correct.
And that school, which school did you go to at that time?
Canton High School.
And do you recall about what time it was that you arrived at the house on Fairview?
Between 10:30 and 11 at night.
And did you have at that time any kind of a curfew or time that you had to be home from your parents?
You said that's
Usually
a false
around
memory.
like right around before midnight.
And so was it like a hard fast, like 12 o'clock, if you're not here, you're grounded, or was it sort of around that time?
Just around midnight.
And so after, when you arrive there, you go into the house, is that right?
Yes,
And the house at 34 Fairview has a couple of different ways to get in the house in the front, is that correct?
correct.
And do you recall which way that you went in that evening?
The side door near the garage.
And when you come into the house, where did you go within the house? What room did you go into?
The living room,
And then from the living room, where else did you go within the house?
like the kitchen area.
And within the kitchen area of the house, who, if anyone else, was present in the kitchen?
From what I remember, my cousin Brian, Emily Fabiano, Sarah Levinson, and Catherine Duty, from what I remember that night.
Is it possible there were other people there that you just don't recall?
Yes,
And where were they situated, sort of in the kitchen, dining room area?
like sitting around the kitchen table, I would say.
Now, after you arrived there, when you arrived there, what is it that they were doing when you walked in?
Just listening to music and having a couple of drinks.
And you come in, you greet people, is that correct?
Yes,
Now, the other people that you talked about, as far as beyond your cousin Brian Albert Jr., did you know those other people?
I knew of them. I wasn't friends with them or anything.
Fair to say they were older than you were, is that correct?
Correct.
So, like, Miss Levinson would have been
Of drinking
older
age.
than you by at least a few years at that point.
Yes,
And the same with reference to, I believe you said, Miss Fabiano and Miss Duty, is that correct?
correct.
Now, when you arrive at the house, did you have any other drinks once you got there?
Yes,
And do you recall what, if anything, you drank once you got there?
Bud Light.
The same as you were having before?
Correct.
You know
Tisk,
how many
tisk,
that you had
tisk.
while you were at 34 Fairview?
I do not remember.
And over the course of the evening, whether it was at Mike's house or in between, or when you got to 34 Fairview, did you feel yourself as far as like overly intoxicated or drunk or anything like that?
No,
And as far as the other people that you observed at the house that night, does anybody stick out to you as being overly intoxicated or fall down drunk or anything like that?
no.
Now, with reference to
Sure.
when you came into the house, you mentioned there was music playing. How would you describe sort of the general mood within the house?
It was happy. It was, yeah.
Now, as far as that area where you first observed the people around the table in the kitchen and dining room area when you came in, did you ever see anybody else go anywhere else in the house?
Not that I remember.
Did you yourself go anywhere else in the house?
No.
At any point in time in the evening while you were there, did you go upstairs or downstairs in the basement or out in the backyard or anywhere else besides the kitchen dining room area?
No.
Beyond maybe.
Did y'all see this that Amy posted over on X? I'm glad I saved this. She showed this picture. This was interesting. Take this for what you will. And y'all let me know what you think about this and if you saw it. She says, this image of Colin Albert was taken 2 weeks to the day after John O'Keefe was, y'all know, unalived. He has noticeable swelling on his right eye. And we know that O'Keefe punched something due to the condition of his hand. He still hasn't been questioned. Interesting. Y'all think it's something, nothing, or everything? Maybe he was just fighting. Who knows?
The restroom at some point.
Yeah. Other than that, no.
And about how long were you at your uncle's house that night to celebrate your cousin's birthday?
Probably around like an hour and a half.
And so about what time would it have been that you left?
12:10.
And with respect to your leaving the house, who, if anyone, did you contact to facilitate?
Can rephrase.
Let me ask it in a much
You
easier
say, is there a
way.
problem?
Okay. As
Thanks.
far as your plans were concerned as far as leaving the house, who, if anyone, did you reach out to get a ride from the house?
My friend Allie McCabe.
And how did you reach out to her?
I texted her.
And do you recall whether or not you had any sort of other communication? Well, let me step back and ask it this way. At that point in time, in January of 2022, you had Ms. McCabe's information saved as a contact in your phone, is that correct?
Correct.
And on prior occasions, had you had a chance to, call that number from your cell phone that you had programmed in as Allie McCabe?
Correct.
And when you called that number, who, if anyone, answered the phone?
Allie.
Now, with respect to text communications, had you had text communications with that contact in your phone as Allie McCabe prior to that date of January 28th?
Yes.
I don't see anything from the courtroom yet,
When
guys.
you had those conversations, did you then also have subsequent sort of in-person conversations with Allie McCabe as well?
Yes.
And during those in-person conversations, was there any reference or anything talked about content that had been previously sent and communicated via text?
No.
And there's nothing going on in the courtroom. I appreciate y'all letting me know. We still got the OnlyFans spinning. And I'll double check and make sure. Nothing yet. And even if I go back, let's see. Let's go back a couple minutes. Nope. Nothing. Don't worry. I got y'all.
Let me ask it in a better. So you would have text communications with the person you put in as a contact as Allie McCabe, correct?
Yes.
And then subsequent to having those text communications, you would then speak to her either in person or over the phone, correct?
Objection. The objection is sustained. Watch the form of your questions.
Following those text communications with the person that you had input in your phone, what, if any, verbal conversations would you have in reference to the content of the text message?
I'm not sure what you're asking. But
Did you talk to her in person about something you had talked to her about in text?
no.
Now, with reference, on that specific date of January 28th, was text communications the only means by which you communicated with Allie McCabe?
From what I remember, yeah.
And were there other means by which you would typically communicate with her?
If she wasn't answering a text, I'd give her a call. Yeah.
And were there apps or anything like that on your phone that you would communicate with her as well?
Snapchat sometimes.
Now, with respect to Snapchat and your family, specifically your cousins.
He has a death threat
what,
video?
if any, sort of group Snapchat chains were there with respect to your family?
Yes.
And specifically, who were those sort of group Snapchat chains? Who was included within it?
I have a Snapchat group chat with my cousins.
And you have cousins on basically your father's side and your mother's side, correct?
Not on my mother's side, no.
You have no cousins on your mother's side?
No.
And with respect to the cousins on your father's side, would it be
No
all of your
cousins on
cousins
his
that were
mother's
included within
side?
that?
Wow.
Not all of them, no.
And so who of your cousins would be included on those kind of group Snapchat chains?
My older brother, Chris, my younger brother, Dylan, my cousin, Kevin, Brian, Brendan, Caitlin, Kayla, and I believe that is it.
And if you recall, was there any communication on that group Snapchat chain in regard to Brian Jr.'s birthday on that date of January 28th to 29th?
No, not that I remember.
Now, with respect, so you reach out to Ms. McCabe via text, is that correct?
Yes.
And she agrees to pick you up?
Yes.
And at some point, are you made aware that she's at the home?
Yes.
And how is it that she makes you aware that she's at the home?
I got a text message from her that says I'm here.
And at any point in time while you were in the home, did Ms. McCabe come inside the home?
No.
And so after you received that text message from Ms. McCabe, did you respond?
Yes.
And if you recall, would you respond?
Come in.
And from that communication, after you sent that, about how long was it between the time that you sent that and the time that you came out?
Between 30 seconds and a minute, I'd say.
And when you came out of the house, do you recall which door you came out at that point?
The side door next to the garage.
And when you came out that door, who, if anyone, did you encounter as you were coming out?
As I was walking out, I saw my Uncle Brian and my Aunt Nicole.
And you were going out, and what were they doing?
They were coming in.
And in addition to your Uncle Brian and your Aunt Nicole, was there anybody else that you recall that was with them when they came into the house?
No, not that I remember.
And what, if any, exchange did you have with your uncle and your aunt as you were going out and they were coming in?
I just said, I'm going home. My mom wants me home. I love you guys. Bye.
And you then went outside of the house, is that correct?
Correct.
And did you see Ms. McCabe outside?
Yes.
And where was she where was her vehicle in relation to the house?
In the driveway.
Now, do you recall what type of vehicle Ms. McCabe was driving on that particular night or had at that time?
I believe it was the blue Ford that they had.
And was that a sedan? Was that an SUV? What type of vehicle?
Yeah.
A sedan.
And so you come out, that's in the driveway, correct?
Correct.
Do you recall whether or not it was parked on the left side or the right side of the driveway?
I do not remember.
And you get into the vehicle. Which part of the vehicle did you get into?
That I do not remember.
Front seat,
Oh,
passenger
shout out
side,
to
does that
Grace.
sound
Thank
right?
you, Dottie.
Could have been that, yeah.
Do you recall whether or not there was anybody else in the vehicle at the time that you got in?
I do not remember that.
Do you recall whether or not there was anybody else in the vehicle at the time that she had dropped you off at that location?
I do not remember that either.
Now, as far as the coming outside of the house, did you take note of anything as far as the weather or what was going on with that when you came outside?
Pretty sure it just started snowing at that time, around that time.
So the snow had just begun. Do you recall whether or not it was sticking or accumulating on the ground at that time?
I do not remember, no.
Now, you get into the car and where did you go?
She drove me right home.
So no stops along the way, just straight from Fairview to your house.
Correct.
And about how long how long a drive is it?
Anywhere between 5-10 minutes.
Now,
Y'all are
as you
saying-
were outside,
Y'all are saying something happened in court. Well, if it did, they didn't show it. Hold on a second. Let's see, because we're live right now. I'm going back. Let me go back. It's been on the fan this whole time, so I'll double check maybe over on a couple other platforms and see if I can find something.
outside the house, walking to the car, and after the car sort of backs out of the driveway and leaves, did you observe anything abnormal or unusual outside of your uncle's house that night?
No,
Did you observe any other cars outside at that time?
not that I remember.
Now, Allie has a mother and a father, and you're familiar with them, is that correct?
Correct.
And what are their names?
Jennifer and Matt.
Same last name as McGee.
Yes.
And you're familiar with what types of vehicles they have?
Yes.
And when you came out of the house and got into Allie's Ford sedan, did you see any vehicle you would associate with either Jennifer or Matthew McCabe at the house at that time?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so you drive home and you go to your house without the address. Whereabouts within the town of Canton were you living at that point?
It's right in the center of Canton near the Seasons gas station.
And is that a single-family house or a multi-family house, or what is it?
It is a condominium.
And when Ms. McCabe pulls in and parks, you get out, correct?
Yes.
And so in order to get into the building, in order to get into your home, how is it that you get into your home when you get to the condo?
There's a door around back that I go into, and I gotta either have a key or they buzz me in, but I usually have a key, and I gotta go up 3 flights of stairs, and then we're at the top level in the condominium.
And so you have to get sort of into the building before you can get into your own unit.
Correct.
And did you notice whether or not Ms. McCabe was still there as you were, excuse me, did you notice whether or not Ms. McCabe was still out there parked when you opened the door with the key?
That I do not remember.
And you get into the condo, where you get into your home, and who, if anyone, was living with you at that time?
My parents and my little brother
Your older brother, where was he?
in San Diego.
He was in the service, is that correct?
Correct.
Oh,
And,
thank you for the
as far as
service.
your brother, your little brother, and your father and your mother, were they home when you got home?
Yes.
And how do you know that?
Because I remember my parents being up in their bedroom that night.
Is there any sort of rule or sort of, for lack of a better term, like protocol as far as when you come home, where do you go sort of first thing when you walk in?
I always tell my mom and my dad that I'm home, and usually go up to their bedroom, give them a hug goodnight, tell them I love them, and then go down to bed.
And did you do that on that occasion?
Yes.
So sort of immediately when you come home, you go right up to your parents' room?
Yes.
And when you got up to your parents' room on that particular evening, was both your mother and your father in their room?
Correct.
And you had that sort of exchange that you described before?
Yes.
And so your bedroom is then located downstairs from where your parents' bedroom is?
Yes.
And if you know about what time was it that you came into the house?
I want to say around 12:20.
And fair to say this is 2.5 years ago and you weren't
It's
exactly
been a-
looking at your watch when you came in, is that right?
Exactly, yes.
And as far as being home or having that curfew around midnight or so, did you get in trouble for being late that night?
No.
He said, I don't recall.
I'll sustain the objection. I'll strike that.
Now, Mr. Albert, the place that you were living at that point in the condo, how long had you been living there?
That I do not remember.
Did you live somewhere else in Canton prior to?
Yes.
Where was it that you lived?
7 Meadows Ave.
And how long did you live at 7 Meadows?
My whole entire life before moving to that condo.
And so all I'm sort of trying to ascertain here is, so from the time of January 28, 29, 2022, was it a long time, short time, months, weeks, years? How long had you been living at the condo?
Short time, I'd say a couple months.
And so prior to that couple of months, you had lived your whole life at 7 Meadows Ave, correct?
Correct.
And that was a single-family house, is that correct?
Yes.
And with respect to living on Meadows Ave, did you know people that lived on your street growing up?
Yes.
And at some point while you were living there, did you come to know someone by the name of John O'Keefe?
Yes.
And how did you know Mr. O'Keefe?
He lived at the top of our street.
So how many houses, if you know, were sort of in between your house and Mr. O'Keefe's?
2.
And do you know how long that Mr. O'Keefe had been living on that street?
I do not know.
And how did you know him, sort of, if you could describe sort of your relationship with your neighbor, Mr. O'Keefe?
I knew him because I knew that my parents were friendly with him. So and I knew he lived at the
They
top
were
of our street. That's how I
friendly
know
with
him.
And
Seems kind of putting it
were you
lightly.
aware who, if anyone, lived at the house with Mr. O'Keefe?
I know his 2 kids that he brought in, adopted, lived there, and I'm not sure who else.
And that would have been his niece and his nephew that he adopted, correct?
Correct.
And where were they in relation to you as far as ages were concerned?
A lot younger. I don't know the exact age difference, but
So you were in high school, they would have been some grade far below.
yes.
Now, as far as your relationship with Mr. O'Keefe, your neighbor, about how often would it be that you would see him?
Not often. I drive by every now and then. He'd be outside, and I would wave. He'd wave back. That was pretty much it.
And during the time that you lived on Meadows
Okay.
Ave, or a couple months subsequent to that, was there ever any animosity or any sort of arguments or anything that you would ever had with Mr. O'Keefe?
Never.
And how would you describe Mr. O'Keefe from your perspective, as far as how would you describe him as a person?
A nice guy. A good guy.
Good morning, Cynthia.
Now, with respect to, if I could bring you back to Fairview Road on January 28th and 29th of 2022, obviously you were familiar with Mr. O'Keefe at that point.
Yes.
And at any point in time that you were in that home, did you see Mr. O'Keefe inside the home?
No.
At any point in time that you
come
were outside
on
the
now.
home, going in, coming out, at any point in time did you see Mr. O'Keefe?
No.
At any point in time in the evening of January 28th into January 29th, 2022, did you see Mr. O'Keefe anywhere?
No.
And at that time, at the end of January
Y'all believe him?
2022, were you
Hey, thank you, Jessica.
aware of
Thanks
or
for
did
being
you know
here.
anybody by the name of Karen?
Yes.
And how did you know her?
I knew that she dated Mr. O'Keefe.
And had you had any sort of prior interactions with Miss Reed prior to January 28th?
Not that I remember, no.
Did you know what she looked like?
Not really.
As far as any interactions, would that be just sort of driving by the house?
How did he know he
Yeah.
was dating Karen?
Maybe drive by, wave. That was about it.
His palms are getting sweaty.
I may have one moment. John.
Yes.
Now, as far as that sort of reaching out to Ms. McCabe on that particular evening, was that something that you had done before?
Yeah.
is that something that sort of you and your friend group did together, as far as if somebody was out and driving around and somebody else was maybe drinking somewhere, they could contact them for a ride?
Yes, correct.
That was as opposed to somebody drinking and then getting behind the wheel and driving, correct?
Exactly.
Now, sir, at some point in July of 2023, did you have occasion to meet with any troopers from the state police in regard to that evening of January 28th,
Interesting.
29th?
Say the date again.
Some point in July of 2023, did you meet with any troopers from the state police?
No.
At some point subsequent to that date of January 28th, 29th, did you meet with any troopers from the state police?
Yes.
And you were asked questions and you answered them, is that correct?
Correct.
And following that conversation or interview that you had with troopers from the state police, what, if anything, did you provide them with reference to your phone?
Can you rephrase that? Sorry.
At some point, did you provide them with a screenshot of a text communication between yourself and Ms. McCabe?
Yes.
And was that something that you took a screenshot on your own phone and then were able to then provide it to them?
Correct.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Oh, we got the receipts.
So showing you a document, just ask you to look at it and then look up when you finish. And do you recognize that, sir?
Yes.
What do you recognize that, sir?
My text messages between Allie that night.
And what's contained on that, is that a fair and accurate portrayal of what you recall as far as the text messages, or what was on your phone as far as what you took a screenshot of the text messages between you and Allie McCabe that night?
Yes, sir.
May I approach again, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm Walter Seek to introduce in the minute.
Mr. Jackson?
Yeah, one moment.
Sure.
We got to get Proctor in here too.
No objection. Thank you.
All right. And jurors, remember the instruction I gave you about the text messages. Thank you. Okay.
Exhibit 84 now.
Your Honor, may I approach this to return to the
Yes.
witness? Your Honor, with the court's permission, may I publish this for the jury?
Okay.
And sir, what's up on the screen, is that what you have before you as Exhibit 84?
Yes.
And the contact that's listed at the top states out, is that correct?
Correct.
Is that how you had Ms. McCabe programmed into your phone?
Correct.
And from this, there's two sets of communications, one contained in blue bubbles and one contained in non-blue bubbles, correct?
Yes.
If you know,
Morning,
blue
Glenn.
bubbles, is that you or is that Ms. McCabe or who's?
That's me.
So the other side would be Ms. McCabe, is that correct?
Correct.
There's also times that are stamped or associated with these text bubbles and with the text communications from Ms. McCabe.
Yes.
And if I could direct your attention, it may be easier if you're looking at the paper in front of you, but just sort of starting from the top, January 28, 2022, if you could read to the jury what the content is, what the time is, and indicate who is communicating.
At 11:54, I texted Allie and said, "You can get me now, period."
Why did the text look like
At
that?
11:54, I texted her again and said, "If easier." At 11:55, Allie texted me back and said, "Okay, I am driving people home now."
Morning, Kieran.
At 11:55, I said, "Word." And then at 11:55, I said, "Get me after." At 11:55, Allie wrote back, "KK." And then at
Why did the text look like this? It's weird.
12:10 a.m., Allie wrote, "Here." And at 12:10 a.m., I wrote back, "Okay."
It's coming, you can take that. And Your Honor, may I approach this to retrieve the exhibit?
Yes.
Now, sir, with respect to that last communication that you sent as far as okay, how long after that message was sent did you then go out to the car where Allie was?
Right after, I'd say around 30 seconds.
And Your Honor, may I approach the witness again?
Yes.
Sir, I'm showing you what's been marked as exhibits 82 and 83. Again, I just ask you to take a look at those and look up when you're. And do you recognize those, sir?
Yep.
And what do you recognize those?
Say that again.
What is in those photos?
A picture of me and my aunt, and a picture of me by myself.
And do you recall sort of when those photographs were taken?
Yes, February 11th.
And why is it that you recall that, well, let me ask you this. As far as February 11th was concerned, where were you that evening?
I was at my uncle's house.
And why were you at your uncle's house on that evening?
My cousin was coming home for leave from the Marine Corps, so we had a little gathering for him.
And just to be clear, when you say your uncle, you're talking about your Uncle Brian Albert again?
Correct.
Your cousin that was coming home from the Marines, what's his name?
Jack Albert.
And so on that evening, you were over that house, is that correct?
Correct.
And the first picture in exhibit, I believe it's 82, is that correct? You and your Aunt Nicole?
Correct.
And what's contained on there, is that a fair and accurate portrayal of sort of what you looked like as far as your arms, your hands, your face, all of those things on that day of February 11th?
Correct.
And the second photograph is again you by yourself, is that correct?
Correct.
And from that photograph again, is that a fair and accurate portrayal of what you look like on February 11th?
Yes.
And from the second photograph in, if you know, where was that taken within the home of your uncle?
In the library at 34 Fairview.
And again, that library or any of the other rooms within the house beyond the kitchen, the dining room, or possibly the restroom, did you go into any other areas of the house on that night of January 28th into January 29th?
No.
What's up, Les?
Yes.
Yep.
One moment, John.
Okay.
Yeah, they probably were. Shelby says some people theorize that they were messing around calling an alley. Maybe that's why the texting mom. They probably were. They ain't known each other for a long time. They're old enough. Whatever. I would assume that they were, or they had at
Mr.
some
Albert,
point.
just one last question. When it came to your arrival at 34 Fairview Road on the evening of, or the early morning of January 29th, when you were leaving, beyond your Uncle Brian and your Aunt Nicole, did you see anybody else older than yourself or anybody else related to that group come into the house that evening?
No.
Thank you, sir. I have nothing further.
All right. Mr. Jackson, do you want to begin or wait until the morning?
Your Honor, it probably makes more sense to wait till it's warmer.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go until the morning. We're gonna fast forward. We're gonna go back in time a little bit here in a second. But before I do, I gotta show some love to some folks up in here. Y'all heard me shout them out earlier. Amy with the banana. Oh my God. She's ready for lunch. I guess it is almost that time. And then Dottie's in here with the 10 bomb. Girl, save your money. Showing love and reminding y'all that I'm her #1 fan. Shout out to Dottie. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, let's keep moving.
Watch your step on here. Remain standing and face the clock. Raise right hand. You saw the other two.
We got Colin back at it. And there's still no updates yet, y'all.
All right, whenever you're ready, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, Your Honor.
No, that pullover is
Mr.
trash.
Albert, who did you talk to in order to prepare for your testimony starting yesterday?
Where did he get that?
Can you rephrase that question, please?
Phrase the question. You didn't understand my question?
No.
Okay. Who did you speak to in order to prepare for your testimony yesterday?
My lawyer.
Other than your lawyer, who did you speak to prepare for your testimony yesterday?
No one.
You didn't speak to your parents?
No.
You didn't speak to your mom, your dad?
Nope.
At
Bruh.
any time before
Come on.
yesterday about your testimony or your statements?
Nope.
Did you discuss with your parents their testimony?
No.
So after they got off the witness stand, your dad didn't come home and say, here's how my day went?
No.
Your mom didn't come home and say, here's how my day went?
Nope.
The Albert family just ignored the fact that both of them testified in a court of law before a jury about the events of January 29th, 2022. Nothing was ever said?
No.
Come on, man.
Did you talk to Mr. Lowry at any point, before yesterday in preparation for your testimony?
Before yesterday, you said?
Correct.
Yes.
Tell me when.
Want to say a month ago about.
What did you talk about?
I got prepped for this.
Tell me what that means. What does it mean to prep for this?
What I'm going to be getting asked.
Okay. Remember my first question, very first question this morning? I said, have you spoken to anybody?
Come on,
to
Colin.
prepare for your testimony, and you said no.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's not true. You spoke to Mr. Lau.
Okay. Yes.
It's not okay, it's yes or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Colin, come on.
You said that was about a month ago, correct?
Correct. Around a month ago.
Tell me what, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Around a month ago. That's it.
Tell me what you and Mr. Lally discussed.
The questions I would be asked here.
Be more
Jeez.
detailed.
I don't remember everything he said.
Did he go over the questions that he believed he would ask?
I believe so.
Did you give him answers to those questions that you believed you would give in response to his questions?
Oh
Yes.
boy.
What questions did he tell you he was going to ask?
I don't remember.
Yeah,
What
that's
answers did you
garbage.
tell him you were gonna give?
Keep it moving.
I don't
It's
remember.
making me angry.
That was just a month ago, right?
Yes.
Obviously, you've been thinking about this case quite a bit, haven't you?
Yeah.
Over the last 2.5 years.
No.
How long have you been thinking about this case?
Since people started writing about me on the internet.
How about since you were at a house where an individual ended up dead on the lawn the next morning? Did that prompt you to start thinking about this case?
No.
Not so much, huh?
Nope.
Did you speak with, when Mr. Lally spoke with you, who else was there?
The witness advocate, I believe, and
Steve Nelson?
yes.
Who else?
And is it Sergeant Tully, I believe?
Tully, T-U-L-L-Y?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Anybody else?
Not that I remember.
Sergeant Tully taking notes while you were having this conversation with Mr. Lally?
I do not remember.
Mr. Lally taking notes?
I do not remember.
Do you remember being told by either Sergeant Tully or Mr. Lally that your conversation was being recorded?
I do not remember.
How long was that meeting?
Say 15 minutes, 20 minutes?
Were you given any instructions by either Sergeant Tully or Mr. Lally about your preparation for your testimony?
Can you rephrase that, please?
Sure. Did they give you any instructions about your the preparation for your testimony? How they wanted you to answer questions? The tone
No.
and tenor of your testimony?
No.
How they wanted you to dress, for instance?
No.
Other than that time a month ago, have you spoken with Mr. Lally or anybody from the DA's office since then, before yesterday?
No.
You watched any coverage of this case online?
Nope.
No social media?
No, I don't have social media.
No news,
good job.
coverage?
Nope.
Nightly news, Channel 25, Channel 5,
No.
national news,
Nope.
blogs.
Nope.
So literally, according to you, you know zero about the media coverage concerning this case, Commonwealth versus Karen Reed.
Correct.
Man, come on, bro. Colin.
Did you talk to Allie before her testimony?
No.
When was the last time you did talk to Allie before she testified yesterday?
Dude.
I don't remember.
Give me an idea. She's one of your best friends. A week ago, a day ago, a month ago.
I do not remember.
Could it have been a year ago?
I do not remember.
Could have been 5 years ago.
No.
Okay. So it's more recently than 5 years ago that you spoke with Allie.
I don't remember.
So you
He
have
said
no
he's not
independent
on social
recollection as you
media.
sit here.
This dude's lying like crazy.
The last time you talked to one of your best friends and your cousin about any subject,
No, I don't remember.
were you ever told in preparation for your testimony, if you start to get stumped or nervous, just say, I don't remember?
Nope.
Nobody ever told you that?
Mm-mm. No.
No?
No. Sorry.
It's okay. So nobody ever informed you that you might get nervous on the witness stand, there might be tough questions. The easiest way to get out of that is just say, yeah, I don't recall.
No.
So you just don't recall because your memory is that bad. You literally don't recall the last time you spoke with Cal.
Objection.
Ask that differently, Mr.
Sure.
Jackson.
Sure. Your testimony is you were not instructed to say, I don't remember. You just literally don't remember.
Correct.
It's an issue with your memory, not an instruction that you received.
Correct.
Right. But you do remember 2.5 years ago, you left 34 Fairview at 12:10 a.m., correct? Down to the minute.
Correct.
Did Mr. Lally, during this meeting that y'all had, did Mr. Lally show you anything? Items of evidence, photographs, videos, anything like that?
No.
Did you two talk about any evidence that you might
Colin,
see?
come on
Photographs, documents, videos.
Not that I remember.
He didn't show you the series of text messages between you and
I believe it,
Ms.
Kelbo.
McCabe, Allie?
What kind of
I
Gen
don't
Zer
remember.
doesn't have a
So you're not saying he didn't. You're just saying, again, you
Social
just don't
media.
remember.
Correct.
Okay. And this was just a month ago.
Around a month. Correct.
Could have been sooner than a month. Or let me ask that a different way. Could have been more recently than a month.
I don't know.
Don't know that either.
Is that no?
Yeah, no.
So, Mr. Albert, you have to answer yes or no, not just,
All right, sorry.
Where were you when this meeting a month ago took place?
At
was
the
there?
DA's office on Shawmut Road.
Who contacted you to come to the DA's office?
I do not remember that.
Don't remember that either.
No.
He doesn't remember
Phone
anything.
call from Mr. Lally, maybe?
I don't
Oh, dang, I
believe
just
that I
realized
received
I
the
was
phone
off this
call.
one.
Maybe my lawyer did or my father, but I don't know. I don't believe I did.
So if your father received a phone call and then told you need to go to the DA's office to meet with Mr. Lally, that would be a conversation with your dad about your preparation for your testimony, correct?
I wouldn't say so, no.
You would categorize that as such.
No.
Okay. Because of course,
Colin.
even though you went to the DA's office to meet
Come on.
Mr. Lally and a sergeant from the Massachusetts State Police to talk about your testimony, you didn't mention that to your dad.
No.
You didn't mention that to your mom.
No.
And when you got done with that meeting, Dad didn't ask you, how'd it go, son?
Nope.
Your mom didn't say, how was that meeting
No.
about this massive murder case?
Objection.
Let me ask it a different way.
Dude, why is he lying, man? Colin, come on, man. It annoys me. This is the worst thing about the Commonwealth's witnesses. The witnesses, especially that were close to John, they were all being difficult for no reason. Like, no, I didn't talk to him about it. No, I don't remember. I didn't get home and they didn't say, hey, son, how's your testimony go today? Come on.
Do you consider this to be a high-profile murder case?
Objection.
stand on relevancy, ask it differently.
That's irrelevant.
In your mind, this is an important case, correct? Obviously.
Correct.
But according to you, it just never comes up in the Albert household.
No.
Okay. You were asked to look at a couple of text messages yesterday. Looked a little bit like this. You seen that before?
Yes.
When did you see that before?
Yesterday.
Before yesterday? Had you ever seen that before?
On my phone, yeah.
Okay, other than on your phone when you made the screenshot, had you ever seen that before? Mr. Lally ever show it to you?
Not that I remember, no.
So you two didn't discuss that in your meeting a month or less ago?
We could have. I don't remember.
But again, you don't remember? Is that no?
No.
Did Mr. Lally tell you why he wanted to question you about those text messages?
I don't remember.
Did Mr. Lally tell you anything about what you might be asked on cross-examination?
No.
Did he ask you about any videos that you've ever posted?
No.
Did he ask you about any comments you've ever made online?
Yep.
Nope.
Any photos you've ever been in?
No.
Any fights you've ever been in?
Nope.
Who's Courtney Proctor?
She's friendly with my aunt, Jillian.
I'm sorry?
My aunt Jillian, she's friendly with.
When you say friendly with, describe that. What do you mean by friendly with?
I know that they're pretty friendly.
Have you ever been to Courtney Proctor's home?
Yes.
How many times would you say over the years?
4 or 5, maybe.
They're friendly is
Her
a funny
family
phrase.
is close to your family, it's fair to say.
Not that close. Close though.
When you say not that close, but close though, what does that mean?
I'd say we're more close when I was younger, not when I got older.
Okay. How old are you now? You're 20?
Correct.
May I approach you?
Okay.
I have a photo I'd like to show Mr. Lally first. May I?
Yes.
Thank you. take a look at that photo and tell me if you recognize it. Just look at it to yourself, please. Let me know if you, after you've studied it for a second.
Yep.
You recognize the photo?
Yes.
Who's in that photo?
Objection.
So the objection sustained as to the content of the photos. Did you want to come to sidebar and explain this to me?
All right, we got our first sidebar. This is a count because these are old sidebars. this is old news over there. Let me see what some of y'all are saying. I had a dream last night about John. We were at the bar eating nachos. I kept trying to tell him that I thought he should go home and not to the Alberts. I went to RRR and he was gone when I came out. Oh man. Rest in peace to John O'Keefe. Dang, that's tough. Friendly is a weird term they use, not friends, but friendly. Yeah, I know. It came up over and over with multiple witnesses. Yep. Friendly meaning I know of them, or I've met them, or yeah, I know. Shout out to Cynthia Hartson here with the 10 bomb. She says they want her guilty by any means necessary. Y'all think so? Have y'all seen this verdict slip? What do y'all think about this still? I know a lot of you haven't seen this. We've got a bunch of people that joined, and thank you again to nearly the 1,400 of you that are in here and the 1,300 of you that like the video so far. Just a real quick summary. Murder in the second degree. They can say guilty or not guilty. It gets weird here during the manslaughter. Okay. Again, going to what Cynthia said, they might just be trying to get her on something. You've got guilty of manslaughter, guilty of involuntary manslaughter, guilty of motor vehicle homicide, and then guilty of a lesser included offense, which would be operating under the influence of liquor, and obviously not guilty. Again, I personally think number 5, they need to go ahead and get her on that. Stop the madness. Make an example out of her, whatever you need to do, but stop driving after you've been drinking, period. It's not worth it. And then last but not least, we've got the leaving the scene of an accident resulting in death. If they don't find her guilty on murder in the second degree, I don't see how they could find her guilty on 2, 3, 4, and then obviously this one here. So let me know what y'all think about that. We'll keep it moving with Colin and see what they had after the sidebar. Karen wasn't going up there during sidebars in the last trial. That's weird. Look at this. It's weird seeing her sit there by herself. Yo, she must have learned a lot during that first trial, because she was up there listening to everything that was being said.
Yes.
Thank you.
Here we go.
Mr. Albert, I want you to look at that one more time.
Verdict slip is messed up because if they're hung on the OWI, she will have to be tried on it. Ah, that's a great point. Dang. She's one evil bitch. It says, all right, look, I don't know. Oh God. I wouldn't say she's evil, but reckless. Absolutely. She has served her time being scared and going on with this bull. Time served for DUI. Oh no. Well, I mean, yeah, time served. Sure. But see, they need to do something. I get what you're saying though. The slip is on for a guilty verdict one way or another. By law, if the jury finds her not guilty on the worst charges, they're supposed to separate that out. She hasn't been in jail though. That's true, Dennis. Hey, listen, if you told me Karen's got to spend 30 days in for DWI, oh well. I think we have a pretty good idea that she was drinking and driving. So I'm not gonna defend you on that one. I agree that John O'Keefe deserves justice, but not by convicting an innocent woman. Absolutely. Is the fan still on? The fan is still on, y'all. We have no developments in court yet. So we keep going with Colin's testimony here shortly. If so, they're taking this to the Supreme Court. Jeez, man. Oh no, another McAlbert in disguise. Yeah, shout out to the differing opinions in here. We welcome differing opinions. Y'all just make sure you're respectful and don't spam in the chat. That's fine. If y'all don't agree and you want to see Karen thrown under the jail, that is totally okay. All right, here we go.
Both
y'all
you
be
and Michael
nice.
Proctor are depicted in the photograph, correct?
Correct.
How long have you known Michael Proctor?
They were all drinking. Yeah, charge them all. I'm cool with
Since
it.
I was a little kid.
And you've known him well enough to know, I don't want you to tell me or tell the jurors, but you know where he lives.
Yeah.
You consider the Proctor family close to your family.
Yeah.
During the course of, for instance, just as an example, during the course of this event, joyous event at a wedding, you actually sat at the head table along with the Proctor family because you were given the honor of being the ring bearer in Courtney's wedding, correct?
Correct.
And you know, of course, that being in a wedding party is reserved for the most special family members and friends, correct?
Objection.
Sustain.
In your mind, was that a special honor?
Objection.
Is that what you thought when you were little? When you were in that?
I'd say so, yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah, charge them all.
you were never
all with
interviewed by
DWI.
Canton Police
Okay.
Department in connection with this case, correct?
No.
How many times were you interviewed by the Massachusetts State Police in connection with
I'm
this
fine
case?
with that Wednesday.
Once.
And that was in July of 2023, correct?
I don't remember exactly when.
Seriously, do y'all think all this happens if alcohol wasn't involved? That's a serious question. If Wednesday says it's 2.5 years yet, we talked about it earlier, max for OUI though, and we know Bev will hit her with that. Yeah, the speed is fine. I think this is good.
When it was.
About a year and a half after the events in question. Is that right?
Around there.
I would too.
Would
Wednesday,
it
I
refresh your
agree.
recollection if you saw a copy of a report of that interview? Just to get the date?
Sure, yeah.
May I approach you on it?
Yes.
I may have just a moment, Your Honor.
Yes.
Take a look at paragraph 1. It's in the middle of the paragraph. If you'll just read that to yourself, please.
How can they add a DUI charge at the statute
Got that?
Yeah.
of
You
limitations
saw the
is
July
over?
18 date,
Yes.
2023?
Yes.
Does that refresh your recollection that that was the first time you were interviewed?
Well, it depends on what's the statute of limitations and when was she originally charged, James?
by
Let
the
me find
Massachusetts
out.
State Police?
Correct.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. Who conducted that interview?
Michael Proctor and one of his partners, I believe. I don't remember.
Michael Proctor was the lead investigator that interviewed you, correct?
Correct.
That's the same Michael Proctor that appears on the far
I
left
don't think
of the
this-
photo of that wedding party, correct?
Correct.
Did you find
To answer your question, in Massachusetts, the statute of limitations for an OUI DWI charge, which is classified as a misdemeanor, blah, 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 is 6 years. Meaning prosecutors must file formal charges within 6 years of the alleged offense or the opportunity to prosecute expires. Once the charges are filed, either by complaint or indictment, the clock stops. And the case can proceed even if prosecution is delayed. No charges were filed within the 6 years. The Commonwealth generally loses the ability to initiate criminal proceedings. There you go.
that that
Stop
interview- by the way,
drinking
how
and
long did
driving,
the interview
guys.
last?
Dang.
Michael Proctor.
I wish.
I do not remember.
Do you remember testifying at one point that it was about 10 minutes?
It's 2025. Don't drink
No.
and drive. 2025. Don't
You
drink and
testified
drive.
at a different hearing, a different proceeding, not this proceeding. One other time, correct?
Correct.
I may have just a moment, Your Honor.
Yes.
I want to hear
May I
it.
approach?
Yes.
And even in
I made a
2022,
foundational
she
question
knew
first.
what to
I
do.
apologize. It's my fault, Mr. Albert. Do you believe it would refresh your recollection as to the
got me out
length
here
of that
rhyming.
first interview if you were to see your testimony from a prior proceeding?
Yeah.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you.
Karen's teeth don't match the talk box.
Take a look at this, and I'm going to direct your
What?
attention to line 18 and 19 of that transcript. Let me know when you reviewed it. Is that yes?
Yeah.
May I?
Yes.
Does that refresh your recollection?
Yes.
How long was that interview?
Which interview are you?
The interview that you had with Michael Proctor. That's what that question was about.
I see your KC.
I still don't remember.
Okay. Do you recall that it says that you testified? Question, how long
Objection.
did the interview last for?
Objection sustained where his memory is not refreshed. You can do this differently, you know that.
Did this refresh your recollection as to the question and answer, how you answered the question, how long that interview lasted?
Yes.
Okay. Did you say 10 minutes?
Yes.
So during the course of that 10-minute conversation that you had with Michael Proctor, what was the tone of that interview? You understand what I mean by tone?
Whose chair is squeaking?
I do not understand.
Okay. Was it hostile and accusatory?
Not that I remember.
OUI
Was it
maximum
antagonistic or
is 2.5
confrontational?
years on the second. Again, we just went through it, but OUI for a second offender is mandatory 2 years, I believe. No. Yeah, there's no mandatory for OUI or DWI. We went through this earlier. So you can get up to 2 years even on your second offense. And you have to have a mandatory of 30 to 60 days behind bars for your second offense. Your first offense, you can get up to 2.5 years, but it's not mandatory. Have you seen the video of, okay, y'all are talking about something else. And Boston allows drinking and driving. It feels that way. People who think Karen Reed is guilty are biased people who can't believe a conspiracy is possible. Anyone who looks at this with fresh eyes sees ultimately there's no evidence against her.
So
and I did.
Ultimately,
is
that there is no evidence, none.
I did not watch the first trial. I heard some about it and I knew we had to cover it. So I came into this with fresh eyes. I saw everything that the jury saw and a little bit more than they did. And I came to the conclusion that I did, that they want to find her guilty of OUI or DWI, fine. But everything else, the evidence doesn't add up. Can't believe it is 50-50 in Canton. Bev will throw the book at her. But 2.5 years is better than 20 to life. Yeah. ClassE was the 13th juror. Yeah, man. Listen, if Karen has to do jail time for driving drunk, oh well.
Can you use different words, please?
Sure. Was he being mean?
No.
Okay. He was being nice, right?
Professional, I'd say.
Yeah. Because you've known him almost your whole life, right?
Yes.
He was friendly and cordial.
Correct.
And the interview was comfortable.
Say it again.
The interview was comfortable.
Correct.
You didn't feel like you were on the hot seat.
No.
Yeah, Valletta, we already reviewed it. Here's the jury slip here, or the verdict slip.
Did you find that the interview with Michael Proctor was consistent with the relationship that you've had with him your whole life? Meaning, he's always been friendly to you. He was just as friendly in that conversation.
Not really, no.
How was he different?
I'd say more professional.
Okay. Obviously, he was doing a job, correct?
Correct.
But when you walked in, you recognized him.
Yes.
He recognized you.
Yes.
You made natural greetings with one another, correct?
Correct.
He questioned you about a few things.
Correct.
He didn't look at your phone. He didn't ask to take your phone away from you.
No.
He didn't ask to seize your phone or seize any other physical items from you.
No.
You weren't asked to come down to the police station and sit in an interview room or an interrogation room, were you?
No.
Matter of fact, where did the conversation take place for those 10 minutes?
In the DA's office on Shawmut Road.
DA's office on Shawmut Road. Who else was there other than Trooper Proctor and his partner at the time, Trooper Clark?
Can you
Who
repeat?
else was there? Was it just Trooper Proctor, Michael Proctor, and Clark?
Yes.
Okay, so it was just the three of you.
Yes.
And Trooper Proctor was the one that was sort of leading the conversation.
Yes.
And when it was done, he said, "You're free to go."
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
And he didn't take your phone.
Nope.
He didn't ask you to look at any text messages.
Nope.
He didn't look through your phone.
Nope.
He didn't take any screenshots or videos of your phone or the contents of your phone.
Nope.
Just let you walk out the door.
Correct.
Your Honor, may I publish the photo?
Why don't you come over here for just 1 second?
May I have that, please?
Ooh, they had another sidebar. And yeah, Amy's putting it in there. Thank you, Amy. She said what I just said. that Karen Reed's body or blood alcohol content was 0.093 at the time of the arrest. This is above the legal limit of 0.08 in Massachusetts. Based on calculations by toxicologists, her blood alcohol content may have been between 13.5 or 14 and 29.3 at the time of the accident. So, no excuses, man. She could have drank when she got home. She did drink when she got home. The last expert witness said empathetically he did not get hit by the car. Yes. Unless she drank more when she got home, a fact that we cannot know. That's true. But she drove from the anyway, it doesn't matter. Caps should get harsher sentencing for drunk driving. I agree. Yes. I live in Wisconsin. Your first DUI is only a traffic violation. What? Jesus. It's a slap on the wrist. It doesn't even appear on your state record. Oh. Well, I know where I won't be going. If they charge her with DUI, all of them should be charged as well. I agree. To break down the jurors, there was a guy who killed a whole family, got off because they tested him the next morning, not the night of. Ugh. Jeez. Let me check the fan. Let's check the fan here, see what's going on.
Yes.
There we
Thank you. Mr. Albert, I want to shift gears for a quick second. On July
Nothing yet,
27th, you and your attorney appeared at a hearing in a separate proceeding, correct?
I don't.
Let me ask it a different way. You testified at a different proceeding, not this trial, but a different proceeding.
Correct.
Okay, you were put under oath, you appeared with your lawyer, you gave testimony, and that's part of what you looked at a second.
Correct.
Okay. But when you met with Michael Proctor, you did not feel the need to take an attorney with you. It was just you, Michael Proctor, and Investigator Clark, correct?
Objection.
That's sustained.
You were asked yesterday about certain texts with your cousin Allie, correct?
Correct.
Allie is obviously family,
Yes.
but she's more than family. She's also a good friend of yours.
Correct.
As a matter of fact, she's one of your best friends.
Correct.
And at your age, this is not meant to be pejorative, but we're different generations. At your age, your most convenient way of communicating is through text messages, correct?
Correct.
I mean, if you're going to grab a buddy and say, let's meet at the such and such ball field or whatever, you're going to text him, probably not call him.
Either or.
Okay. But texting is pretty common between you and your friends.
Yes.
Texting is certainly common between you and Alan. You've already seen evidence of that, right?
I see you, Don. I got
Yes.
you.
And that's generally how you like to communicate with Alan.
I'd say so, yeah.
In fact, when you reached out to her for a ride, there were like 8 text messages back and forth just for a pickup, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, just a moment, Your Honor.
Sure.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
This is a copy of 81. I just want you to have that in front of you. Your Honor, with the court's permission, can you place
This is a
exhibit
rewind
81,
vintage.
on the screen?
Okay.
Your Honor, may I approach? I need to use the Elmo instead of...
Okay. Is there an objection to that?
No, Your Honor.
All right.
May I have that back?
I thought you meant approach over here.
And we can't see that.
Do you want the Commonwealth to pull it? Mr. Jackson, do you want the Commonwealth to pull it up for you?
I'd be happy to, Your Honor. It's fine.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Thank you, Ms. Gilman.
Can I approach the witness to speak?
Yes.
for our copy? Okay. You see what's displayed on the screen?
Yes.
It's only part of the text string, but does that look like it's an accurate representation of what you're looking at?
Yes.
And this is a series of texts on or about January 28th and 29th of 2022, is that right?
Yes.
And Mr. Albert, you needed something as simple as a ride. You were just asking Allie to give you a ride, is that right?
Yes.
And that's because you said that it's common for you guys to text back and forth. You just texted her, hey, you can get me now, is that right?
Yes.
And then you texted if it's easier, and then she said, okay, I'm dropping people off, and there was an exchange back and forth, is that right?
Yeah.
And there were at least 8 texts between the two of you, if you just count them up real quick, just about getting picked up.
Yeah.
But if you scroll down a little bit, after the end of that text string, that ends at 12:10 a.m. and it says okay. You see the next date?
Yes.
What date is that?
February 20th.
I agree, Don.
That's nearly a month later, correct?
Correct.
So there was a gap after January 29th, 2022, when you found out that a man had ended up dead on your uncle's lawn, and you and Allie did not text each other for a month, not once.
Objection.
Sustained as to that form. Ask it differently.
Isn't it true that on January 29th, later in the day, you found out about John O'Keefe and his condition, the fact that he died?
Objection.
Is that true? Did you find out that day?
Yes.
Okay.
So you were well aware of, thank you. We can take that down. You were well aware, Mr. Albert, that something very tragic had happened at your uncle's house, Brian Albert's house, right?
Correct.
And you were aware that you had been at your uncle's house that night, right?
Correct.
You were also aware that, according to you, Allie McCabe was the one that picked you up and took you from that location.
Correct.
And notwithstanding the fact of this
Yeah,
tragedy,
I don't know what pejorative means.
you and Allie
Shout out to Colin. I'm with you,
didn't
brother.
text each other one time for a month. Is that right?
Not mine.
I don't think that's correct.
So where are those texts?
We text on other platforms too. So I'd say other apps.
So is there a reason why you decided for the next month to just switch platforms to maybe Snapchat?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
No reason.
Are you sure that you switched platforms?
I'd say so, yeah.
Why did you switch platforms?
We go back and forth, I'd say, between platforms texting.
You switched platforms because you know that Snapchat deletes all communications, correct?
Objection.
Ask it differently, Mr. Jackson.
Do you know that
on,
Snapchat
AJ.
has an auto-delete function on it?
If your app is set to that, yes.
Your app was set to that, wasn't it?
I do not remember that.
So again, your memory is failing you.
Can you rephrase that?
Sure. Once again, your memory is failing you. You just
Objection.
don't remember.
Objection.
Ask it differently, Mr.
I
Jackson.
also
Isn't it
don't
true,
know what
Mr. Albert?
pejorative means. Shout out to Bethany. We're struggling
That you
over here.
either
We gotta
switched
get our
platforms
vocabularies up.
or deleted the texts because you did not want your text communications with Allie McCabe to be discovered.
Objection.
Overruled.
Is that right?
That's not true.
So where are those communications?
I do not know.
Can't produce them right now, can you?
I'm not sure.
So in the days, hours, and days and weeks following the death of John O'Keefe, your communications with your best friend, Allie, the person who gave you a ride home that night, they're just gone. Right?
I'm not sure.
Colin, come on,
You
dude.
testified that you provided Exhibit 81, what we were just looking at and you're still looking at in front of you, as a screenshot of your communications on January 29th, 2022 with Allie McCabe, correct? It was a screenshot.
Can you say that again? Sorry.
You provided that item as a screenshot, not as an actual text to law enforcement. Is that right?
I don't believe so.
Okay, do you know what a screenshot is?
Yes.
What's a screenshot?
When you take a picture on your phone.
That's a picture from your phone.
Yes.
Okay, so it is a screenshot.
Yes, it is a screenshot.
Okay, that's my question. When you met with Michael Proctor in that interview that lasted 10 minutes, Michael Proctor did not get the actual texts underlying that screenshot, did he?
No.
He never looked for those actual texts, did he?
No.
He never asked you for those actual texts, did he?
No.
And you never volunteered to give him those actual texts, did you?
I think I volunteered to, yeah.
On that day?
Oh, no, not on that day, no.
Not on that day. You know what a phone extraction is?
Not familiar.
Okay. Have you ever heard of a phone imaging or a phone extraction or a forensic extraction? Any of those words sound familiar?
Not really, no.
Michael Proctor never asked you, I think it's fair to say now, given that answer, Michael Proctor never asked you if you could do a phone extraction of your cell phone, did he?
No.
He never asked if he could take a forensic image of your phone, did he?
No.
Do you know what metadata is?
Nope.
You know the dates and times. You take a photo on your phone. Sometimes, well, not sometimes, all the time. It'll capture the date and time of the photo. You know that?
Objection.
I'll hear this answer and it may end your inquiry. Do you know that?
Pretty sure I do, yeah.
Have you ever heard of that data, the dates and times and geolocations? Have you ever heard of that referred to as metadata?
No.
Okay, so I'll just use the word date and time.
DQIA.
You know that on your phone, if you pull up a text, you can go behind the text and see the date and time that it was actually sent or received, right?
Yeah.
But on a screenshot, you're left with just what's on the screen. You can't go behind the screenshot, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You provided just the screenshot, ultimately, not the actual text, correct?
Correct.
But in September of 2023, Michael Proctor's partner, a man by the name of Yuri Buchnick, you know that name?
Yeah.
He contacted you and said he wanted to talk about your text messages, correct?
I don't remember.
Do you remember that you told Yuri Buchnick when he asked about the text messages, you did not have the screenshot anymore, you sent it to your father, Chris?
I don't remember that.
Do you recall telling Yuri Buchnick if he wanted to get the screenshot, you weren't going to give it to him, he'd have to get it from your dad?
Do not remember that.
You remember Trooper Buchnick agreeing with you and saying, sure, I'll just call your dad and get it from him?
Don't remember that.
You certainly don't remember ever giving Trooper Buchnick a copy of that screenshot.
No, I don't remember.
Because you didn't, did you?
I do not remember.
But you did give it to your dad, right?
I do not remember.
Do you remember anything about this case?
Objection, Your Honor.
I'll withdraw.
That was a bad question.
To this day, you have never been required to present your phone to any law enforcement agent, have you?
Nope.
It was never imaged. It was never downloaded.
Nope.
You still have the same phone?
Yes.
If you had the actual texts on your phone, why did you provide law enforcement with just a screenshot?
Objection.
I'll allow that.
I'm not sure.
You were shown a photo yesterday of you in February of 2022 with your aunt. Remember that photo? Mr. Lally showed you that photo?
Correct.
And he said he wanted you to pay special attention to your face and hands and extremities. Asked you if there was anything unusual about that.
Yes.
You said no. In that photo, absolutely nothing unusual in February of 2022 about you, your face, your hands, fists, nothing, right?
Correct.
I want to draw your attention to February 26th, same month, less than a month after the incident. You were at a place called Fenway Johnny's with your buddies, weren't you?
Correct.
Fenway Johnny's. Nice.
And I have two documents I'd like to mark for identification with the court's permission to show Mr. Lally.
Okay.
1 and 2.
No updates yet, guys. Dang, they got rid of a court reporter too.
Thank you.
Can I
Okay.
present these to the witness?
Yes.
May we approach?
I may as well see them. I'll end up seeing them anyways.
Okay, there it is. All right, guys. I think we're going to Listen, y'all think the jury's gonna be in there all day? I thought they would have a verdict today. And we still don't have any updates. I'm surprised it's taking them this long. We had a couple more super chats in here. Shout out to Cynthia Hartz. I think I read this one earlier. I'll read it again. She says they want her guilty by any means necessary. I agree. And it's hard to watch, man. Y'all stay out of the system. Stay on this side of the law if you can. Don't drink and drive. Imagine if none of them had been drinking that night. John O'Keefe might still be here. Hate to say that. Dang. Amy in here with the 3 bombs, showing some love, just giving heart kisses. I'll take them. Thank you, Amy. And then Vintage CB in the building with the 10 bomb. Appreciate you, Vintage. Says, too many suspects, not enough slime. Shout out to Vintage CB. I don't know, y'all. We looked at the poll and most of y'all said you thought there was going to be a verdict today. Over 60% of you said that you think there would be. So we'll have to wait and see. I don't think we're going to hang out too much longer. What I will do is, if you haven't yet, please make sure you guys hit the notification bell and also subscribe when you do that, because it will let you know anytime we go live or drop a new video. What I'm going to do is we will have an emergency live stream if there's a verdict today. We got a few more hours left until the jury maybe takes another day, so they might be until tomorrow. If they come back and we have a verdict, I will make sure that we live stream. All right. Shout out to the gang. Thank y'all for the support. Big shout out to everyone who went the extra mile and supported on the super chats. Shout out to Slim Life New Jersey, Kara Hampton. I appreciate you, Virginia Wiley. We had Nana Banana in there, my dog CPE. We had Jay Bird, became a new member. Les Cleaver in here. Cynthia Hart, Vintage CB, and then, of course, Dottie and Amy in there as well. Thank y'all so much for the love. We are going to be back either later on this afternoon or tomorrow morning as usual. Thank y'all for the support. Always have a great rest of your afternoon, and y'all know what to do. Keep growing, keep pushing, keep it classy. We gonna get out of here. Peace.